Yo, YouTubers. Well, basically what happened, you'll notice me headphones gone and the microphone's gone. Because when I was using the laptop gadget thing, it just paused on its own and said it wasn't enough memory. I don't know why, because, it's a 4 GB memory card in the machine, and it's just, like I've done, you've seen the other speeches I've put up, and it's got up to an hour, over an hour, and it doesn't do it. Like, well, all of a sudden it's like going off all of a sudden when I'm on crucial points in my speeches. So anyway, I'm trying to upload the 2 parts I've just done. Part 8 and part 9 is now being uploaded to YouTube straight from the memory card, right? And what I've had to do is use my traditional video camera, a normal video camera, to carry on recording, but it's not late, you see. It's still daylight, and so I don't have to worry about the noise levels and all that. Like, I just hope you can hear me. I don't want to have to shout, because the microphone's on the camera, you see. The mic is on the camera. So anyway, where did I leave off? Continuing, now I'm in part 10, because I'm going to have to upload these in parts, but the good news is that this actual video camera, I can let it record for as long as I want, basically. It's just uploading, it's going to take a while, and I'm trying to get this done because, as I said on the earlier video, if it does upload, it's in slow motion trying to upload. I'm being heavily surveyed, to be honest. Like, there's some kind of surveillance going on with me, people watching me, see what I say or whatever on my tapes or whatever, on my speeches and that, so there's loads of weird things going on at the moment. You know the score, guys. I mean, there's a guy on YouTube, I don't know what he's called, something DeBastard or something like that. He's the only person out there with the name DeBastard on it, and he's doing speeches about targeted individuals, about being a targeted individual, and on his recordings there's actual static, actual noise interference going while he's talking on his webcam or whatever he's using, whatever the gadgets he's using, really severe, as if they're trying to distract his mind or something like. But anyway, I'm going to get to the end of that later, later in the, if I can try and finish this series of speeches off, basically. I'm going to sort of finish up with basically telling people not to be arsed about, not to be worried about being gang stalked and that. You've got to put it out of your mind and that. All I'm doing, from my perspective, is proving by what I'm saying that I have been a victim of something or other, some kind of intimidation, some kind, I didn't know it was called gang stalking or anything like that, or targeted individuals. I didn't have any name for it. All I know, I was being harassed left, right and centre. Because of a few things I did when I was younger, as I've spoke about, the engraving a coin and silly little things like that. It's not a crime. It's not actually a crime, it's like the Romans inventing their own laws to protect themselves, isn't it, basically? So I don't think I deserve what I've got, but, strange things throughout my life. But anyhow, at the end of it all, I'll be going into why it's not really worth being bothered about. Why you have to kind of, what you need to do is try and get your mindset out of the frame of thinking you're being gang stalked in the first place. You've got to be positive and push forward. But I am interested in hearing people's opinions and their examples of gang stalking, if you know what I mean. That's kind of like my area. I do listen to what people have to say, and now I'll go through loads of videos. I watch loads of speeches and stuff, see what people are saying, and trying to reach a common denominator here, right, guys? And basically, we're talking about demons. We're talking about demons using people to hurt each other. I think we're basically going through a kind of alien invasion, it's like the film War of the Worlds. But they're not flying around in spaceships. They're probably the spaceships are probably smartphones or electronic gadgets, plasma TVs, things like that. I don't know. Oh, I had to sneeze. Anyway, I left off on me. The last part is uploading. That's like, see, the first part, well, part 8 is like 35 minutes long. Part 9 is 27 minutes long because it's just, my machine was just pausing randomly. I never pressed the pause. So anyway, I can carry on speaking on this camera, and I know I'm not going to get any interference because it's not an Android device, if you know what I mean. But yeah, a lad's just attacked me with a knife, and I remain calm, and I start bleeding when I grab hold of the blade, and the blood runs, you know, if you can imagine me holding a blade like that, you just imagine a red streak of blood just go down my arm and dripping off my elbow, you know. He sees that coming down my thumb. I don't know if I can actually, there's a little scar on my thumb anyway, there's like a little white line there, like, and it's like, that's where I cut myself anyway, holding onto a blade of a knife. But as soon as he sees the blood, right, he flips out. He goes like completely, I'm sorry, Bruce, I'm sorry. And I say to him like, well, look, man, what got into you? Like, what, you know, because I liked the lad, I didn't have anything against him. He was a sound, you know what I mean? In my book, you know, like when you say someone's sound or they're okay or you get on with them and that, like, you know what I mean? Didn't have any hatred towards him or nothing like that, and he didn't have any signs of having any hatred towards me. It was just like as though he'd been spiked with crack, is the words he used, no crack cocaine, right guys? And the next day or a couple of days later, he's on a mad one like the Incredible Hulk, and something gets into his head that I'm not going to pay him for the television, so he's got this mad excuse to attack me, right? So that's mind control, isn't it? There's someone using him, right? It just so happens he'd been in jail. You know, as though like, I mean, for all I know, we could have both been in jail at the time when it was going on, you know, because just because you're in your own surroundings, your own flat or whatever, like, doesn't mean you're essentially where you think you are, if you know what I mean. Could be on the mothership. But by staying calm, right, instead of cracking up and having a go at him and fighting him or whatever, I seen him snap out of the spell right in front of my eyes, going from a complete psychopath to a really calm, like, well, he was kind of like nervous about the fact that, you know, he'd just done something to me and that, like, and, you know, he was like, you won't tell anyone or anything, will you, Bruce? You won't report. I was like, nah, I won't say anything, you know what I mean? I'm just talking about it now for the sake of this theme, this subject matter of TIs and gang stalking, and proving that a lot of these people don't even know what they're doing. And think about it, guys. Saying something's not much, is it? If someone's saying something to you or walking past your front door to intimidate you, or another crazy one I've noticed, right, is, have you ever noticed this one, guys? If you live in a house on a street, people take the dogs for a walk past your front door, and you don't see them doing it, you know, you don't see them. Well, you open your front door and there's dog shit on the floor right in front of you, you know, your path, basically, you know, they actually get the dogs to shit on your path. You know, that's another, like, gang stalking technique that I see. You know, this was, like, going back to the year 2000 when I saw people doing that to me, like, you know what I mean? Whether they're seeing the person actually doing it with his dog, or they've gone out and smashed his head and killed his fucking dog as well, do you know what I mean? But if they do it so you don't see them, like, well, I wouldn't have killed his dog, you know. They don't know what they do. Forgive them, they don't know what they do. But that's another form of gang stalking, right? But as if that's not bad enough, right? Just someone making, like, saying something to you, or doing, like, putting a sign in the window, or switching headlights on a car or something. I've been actually physically attacked. You know, not just verbally. This has got to the point where I was being attacked physically over a bloody television set, basically. And I put two and two together when he said, like, someone must have slipped me a bit of crack or something in a pipe or something. He didn't even know himself. I was like, oh my word, what is this coming to? You know, what I was thinking to myself, what is this coming to? Where does this end? It's getting madder and madder. So I sort of let him off. I even actually gave him a toke of weed and chilled him out and said, look man, let's just like forget about it for now. This was a few years ago now, guys. This is like, we're talking about like nearly 8 years ago when that happened, like. Because he had enough problems of his own. I knew he wasn't happy and he was having problems of his own, but he'd been in jail, it just so happened, like. And I didn't actually have anything against him, if you know what I mean. But it's the gladiator mentality, isn't it? It's like someone out there seems to think we're like gladiators or something. And they put us in the arena and they want us all fighting each other and killing each other and having a go at each other. I mean, to the point of a knife being held at my neck. I could have easily flipped out. I could have gone mad, took the knife off him and stabbed him, if you know what I mean. It could have been much worse than it was. I ended up with a cuffed thumb. And he snaps out of it in front of my eyes. But it was amazing seeing him snap out of it, because it was like watching someone being like, you know, when a hypnotist says like, you know, 3, 2, 1, you're back in the room. But instead of his hypnotist breaking him out of the spell, whoever it was that fucking sent him to me to do that, whoever was behind it, I don't care who it was, I don't really care. All I know is I've seen the proof of how far that mind control can go. You know, that the person hasn't actually got a clue what they're doing. And it was just the sight of blood what snapped him out of it. Don't know why, like, you know, maybe he didn't expect it to get bad, maybe it was just a test, maybe whoever sent him was just like, let's see what Bruce does if this happens, like, see if he, you know, shits himself or gets scared, or, you know, that kind of crap, like, you know, people test you and that, like, because I'm too old for that kind of shit, you know what I mean, guys? It's not like I was 20 or something, I was like 40 something, you know what I mean? But these arseholes who are running it, they just don't get it into the heads that they're ruining lives, you know what I mean? But anyway, where's my piece of paper? Hold on. Let's just switch this light on. Right. Shed a bit of light on the circumstance. Right. So that's another example, right, guys? I mean, that's a serious incident, right, guys? But he mentioned crack cocaine, you see, right? And this is where I've got, like, I'm not like a sort of like a do-gooder that wants people to stop doing drugs and all that kind of thing because it's against the law. I warn people against the mind control involved in certain things, that you could be off your head on something. You know, the serious stuff like heroin, crack and heroin, crack and cocaine and amphetamines and, you know, the stuff that's kind of like heavy duty, like. It makes people act strange. I mean, methamphetamine is the worst thing at the moment, isn't it now, guys? What's it called? Crystal meth. That's turning people into zombies, basically. So I sort of say to people, I try and warn them. It's not like I'm like an anti-drugs like stick in the mud. I'm like, look guys, you could like be like getting yourselves into jail, doing things you don't even know what you're doing, like you're possessed or whatever, a demon's got a hold on you or something like. So, anyway, I've covered that part. That's my knife attack, right? That's where we're getting serious, right? Other things, years earlier, while I was living in my mum's house, still living with me folks, another example of me being attacked to the point of like, it's like being teased. You know, as if you're being teased by someone, like. So I've got a lot of axes to grind me, like, but it's not the people who are actually attacking me. It's someone in the background. And I always get my own back, you see, guys. I always get my revenge, somehow, some way. Anyone who's having a go at me, and if they're doing this secretly especially, they always end up having some kind of problems, you know what I mean? They either end up dead or severely ill or something. But another one where I'm sort of like, I just want to kind of clear the air of that, like, to prove that I have been through some serious crap, guys, and it's not very nice, and I've had to put up with it, like, you know. But if it wasn't for my sense of humour and my understanding of the Holy Spirit, I'd probably be in jail now on a murder charge or something like that. Do you get me? That's why it's so important. You got to stay cool, keep calm, and all the rest of it. It's very important that point, like. But another way I felt like I was being gang stalked, or targeted, or physically harmed, and it's done to intimidate you. It's maybe to um, ruin your time, ruin your day, ruin your frequencies, make you feel negative. Is hemorrhoids. Right. Now, I don't know how many of you out there will have been through this. It's not the kind of thing people want to talk about, guys, is it? You gotta be like, but, we're only flesh and bone. It's only an arsehole, you know what I mean? It's only an orifice that we drop food out of. Like, it's not such a big deal, but the point is, it's not very nice when you're like, this is the way I got it, like, it's like, it's a witches thing, right, guys? I've tied it in with witchcraft. It's all linked to like covetous activities, right? And the evil dragon, the serpent of old. That's what the scriptures describe it as. It's a control freak dragon that rules witches and wizards and warlocks and people like that. And it makes them do things for it, you know what I mean? And you've got your beast and the false prophet and the serpent. Do you know what I mean? And one of these things that used to really get to me, this was like a few years back, this was before I moved out and lived in the flat in the other place. Just another little thing, like. Oh, by the way, the guy who flipped out on me with the knife, the point I'm making there is like, the mad woman and the other men friends had already hinted that this dude that attacked me was a bit of a psycho. It's like, so they sort of give themselves away, don't they? They told me that like he was going to have a go at me basically without telling me. If you know what I'm saying, it's their way of doing things, isn't it? They're supposed to frighten you or make you leave town or something. I don't know, but I just stayed there. I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, going back to when I was in my own house, in my mum's house, like. When I said in earlier speeches that sometimes you see like the switch, what we call the switch, where you think it's your own parents and that, like, I've noticed a lot of connections here, guys, on other TIs where they're saying they don't like the families anymore. They felt falling out with the mums and the dads and the brothers and sisters and that, like. Now, we should be prepared for all that because the scriptures say it'll turn brother against brother, father against son, mother against daughter. The beast is bound to make people attack each other. We should rise above that. We should be ready for that. If it gets bad, you just walk away or something, But you think about this, right, folks? You could be like hating your mum or your dad or your mother and father or whatever, and they haven't actually done anything. There could be like demons impersonating them and stuff. That's the whole deception. This is why we can't really judge the book by its cover, basically, because it's designed to throw us into confusion, and there's got to be a common denominator with all. If the people in America are saying the same things, people in Australia, Canada, Great Britain, all over the world, we're all posting these mad videos on YouTube saying we've been gang stalked. It's not a national thing, is it? It's a universal thing. So we're talking about a kind of invasion, a kind of demonic, exactly as the scriptures have forewarned us. And if we're believers, if we're going to stick our necks out and say, I think God's great and that, when you witchcraft people are all idiots and that, you've got to expect a little bit of stick, haven't you? People picking on us and all the rest of it, like. But on a more severe note, I'll be sitting I'll be in my pad, living with me folks and that at the time, and at the time there were days when I'd look at my mum and both my mum and dad were still alive, and I'd look at them and I'd think, that's not me dad, that's not me mum. You know what I mean? I knew they were different beings, but they looked at, the aliens, the greys or whatever you want to call them, or the reptoids, them kind of beings, they're not from other galaxies, they're from Earth or from the moon or from Mars at the very furthest, They do actually assume the form of people to confuse you. They can shapeshift, they can be people That's why I don't trust anyone anymore. If people knock on my door or people tell me to go somewhere and they say a word out of place, anything, just the slightest little subject, if they say they don't like me music or anything like that, I just go, I'm off. I'll see you around, like, you know what I mean? And then I won't talk to them for weeks. Or won't talk to them at all, ever again, even, like. As soon as they say something that's like, who do you think you are, Bruce? You know, like, where they're against you. Because people shouldn't be like that with your friends or fucking, or brothers or relatives, should you? You know, it should be like, everyone should be like, you know, on the same wavelength, like. But some people are weaker than others, if you know what I'm saying. Some people can't repel these things and they're too proud to admit it's going on in the first place in most cases. But one of the horriblest things is like, well, I'll be in my own house and there's my mum and there was only my mum and dad there living there at the time with me, like, you know. And I'd be like, no problems, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have any, you know what piles is, guys? You know the conditioned piles? Where it's like a sort of, you know, like a lump on the backside, you know. Terrible subject to talk about, right, folks, but this is, I'm trying to amplify that witches and these kinds of people, they've got this weird thing about the anus, haven't they? This weird thing about the anus, like, you know, the arsehole, basically, this, like, fucking, like, they think they get one over on you if they do something to your backside, do you know what I mean? Like, sort of shafting you or arse raping you. I know it sounds terrible, right, guys, but there's a lot of folks out there, right, they think they've been abducted by aliens or stuff like that, and they've basically been raped. Or some kind of anal penetration to bully them or something, like. And you know, it's not funny, like, you know what I mean? I'm sort of, the only way I can deal with things like that is look on the lighter side and just, you know, count my blessings and thank God for all the blessings. Anything that's bad in that, like, I don't know what to expect, you know, things aren't like that at the moment, like, it's been a while since I've had a sore ass, like, but, but it's most severe this way, guys. You know when you've, like, say, you've got piles because you've been sitting on a cold floor, or I don't know, you rode a bicycle for too many miles or something like that, or you know, say if you're a female or a homo or something like that, some kind of anal activity with your partners or something, and it leads to some kind of infection and that, like, and then one thing leads to another. But I'm talking about, like, where you're not even having any sex or anything, like, you're celibate and that. Remember, guys, I'm not gay or nothing like that. I don't believe in any of that business, like, you know what I mean? Well, it's just like these beasts, these knobheads, they do things to people's backsides. I know it sounds terrible, like. But you'd be like, just 1 minute, you're like sat happy as Larry, like, you know, no problems with your backside. And then it's like 3, 2, 1. You know, like when I said when I smoked the weed and I felt like I could smell a uniform. There's a break. There's a link where someone says a code word to you, and you don't see it happen, but you know something's happened to you. So it's witchcraft or hypnosis, right, guys? Right? We've got to face that fact, guys. You know what I mean? One of my hardest barriers to get over was thinking, oh man, I've been raped there, man. What's going on? You know, I was like thinking, what the fuck, man, I've been raped, who the fucking hell done that? Like, when I catch up to them, I'll kill them, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's another matter, anyway. But this was like, it wasn't actual rape, it was like, 1 minute I'm like healthy, no problems whatsoever, right? And honestly, it's like instantaneous. I'll go into the kitchen or something, I'll make a cup of coffee or something, or next thing I'll suddenly be like, hang on, how come there's like my arse is sore all of a sudden? And there'll be a boil there, you know, like, do you know, like what you call it, a blister? You know, like when you burn yourself. Have you ever burned yourself with a hot kettle or something and it immediately turns into a bubble on your skin, right? One of them, but right on your fucking ass, you know what I mean? It's like so unbearable, you can't sit down. Do you get me? Like, now, that hasn't just happened to me once. That's happened to me a few times, right? Only a few, like, but each time it's horrible, you know what I mean? Because you just, like, you're sorted 1 minute. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, You can feel, it feels like a moon hopper, you know them things you sit on called moon hoppers, what you bounce around on, like, or you know them balls that pregnant women bounce onto sort of like for exercise or whatever, like. Feels like that all of a sudden is between your ass cheeks, you know what I mean? You think, hang on, I was alright just a minute ago, what happened there? But when they done it to me, right guys, they give the game away. This is the problem with them, man. They give, if any witches die or anything like that that I used to know, I don't feel sorry for them. I'm not going to cry, am I? If someone says, oh, you know, someone died there, man. You know, someone so-and-so died there, Bruce. They were dead ill and that. Like I say, yeah, one of the witches that was picking on me and pretending, you know, to be my friend and that, like. But how they give themselves away with me, right, guys? I heard this voice go, you know, in the hypnosis mode, where it's like just before I felt like something's been done to me, like shafted or whatever they do to you, like, you know. I heard a voice go, that's gonna hurt in the morning. Do you know what I mean? They actually said that before they got off, like, you know, because I've got a memory that's like not like other people's. I can see and hear things that we're not supposed to see and hear. I'm quite receptive. I've got like extra senses. I mean, that's what ESP is, isn't it? Extrasensory perception. I have got ESP, do you understand, right, guys? Yeah. So I hear this voice go, that's gonna hurt in the morning. And sure enough, like, and it's not even in the next day, it's like within a second of hearing that, I think, oh no. And then going to the toilet and having a dump and things like that is really difficult then, you know what I mean? And you don't want to go to the doctor, you know what I mean? Because, like, you don't want to say, like, doctor, I've got this huge balloon on my bum, like, and I need, like, some ointments or something. It's a sort of, it's a taboo subject, you know. You don't want to deal with it or tell anyone. You know, back then at the time I didn't want to talk to anyone about anything, like, because I was mentally ill, for crying out loud. I was actually a breakdown patient, do you know what I mean? But all of a sudden I've got this boil, and I'm not kidding you, it was like, oh my word. The only way I could get rid of it was staying in a cold bath for like 5 hours or something. You know, when you get in a bath and you let the water go cold until it's freezing and you just don't get out the bath, like. That was the only way it started to recede and that, like. And the ones I've had since, right, is I just didn't care anymore. And I'd just burst them and I'd be bleeding, like, you know. It's a serious thing about bleeding, like, and blood with these guys, isn't it, you know. I'd just be bleeding, like, when I have a dump or whatever, and I think, oh, I don't really care anymore. It's not like I'm a model or something, is it, like. But this is how sinister you are. They think, like, they can get away with it. Everything's got to catch up in the end, hasn't it? You know what I mean? Anyone that does anything like that to another person consciously is sick in the head and they need to be stamped down into hell, right? And I was trying to figure out how they did that. I was thinking, what did they do to cause that? Because it's the nearest thing I can say. It's not like a scab or a sore. It's a bubble. You know what? Like when you, like I say, when you burn yourself. You know, if someone touches you with a hot kettle or something, and it just blisters all of a sudden. It's like your skin, like, is full of liquid, isn't it? It's just water basically. And it just has to be burst. But the way I saw it, this is the way the way the Lord showed me it, like. It just shows me, used to show me things through like television and things. There'd just be certain creating. It wasn't like the normal TV. It'd just be like images. It'd be like, it was like he was showing me their world, you know, the witch's world, through, as though he was using his own camera, and it'd be on a television screen for me to see it. And I seen how they do it by watching a particular person doing something where he struck a match, right? And you know what they call matches? Lucifer's matches, you know, no matchsticks, they call box of matches, like. They're known as Lucifers years ago, you know what I mean? Because they stink of sulphur and all the rest of it, like, you know. But what they actually do is, so what I found out what they did to do that to me, like, was one of them, the witch, whoever it is, the covens and that, and I'm telling you, they could have used me mum or my dad to do this, guys. This is the thing, but they weren't actually me mum or my dad. They were like doubles, do you know what I mean? They didn't have the same character, they weren't as friendly, do you get me, as they usually should be, like. So you're in a place, you're surrounded by witches you don't even know, basically thinking, oh no, I don't even know what to say here, like. My gang stalking, guys, my TI business has been heavy duty to say the least. But what they do is, you know when you strike a match, you go, tsh, and light the match, but before it burns the stick or whatever, you go, they blow the match out, and you know while the tip of it is still red hot, even though the flame's out, it'd be red hot. They get you to bend over using some kind of hypnotic thing, and they just touch your skin with it, like, you know what I mean? Say I went like that with a hot match, I'd just go, blew it out, and then just touch my hand with it, just for a second. A blister would appear. And that's the way the Lord showed me what they did, how they did it to me. Like, he didn't tell me who it actually was. He was sort of telling me to use my own initiative on that one and work that out. And I did. And every one of them's been ill. Every one of them's been in hospital, guys, or they've got some kind of severe problems approaching them still. Like, you know, they still got to face judgment when they die and all kinds of shit, like, you know what I mean? But that's the way the Lord told me. He said, you see how they did that, Bruce? He just used a hot match on you, like. And instead of me, you know, remember, I didn't complain. I don't say, why do you let this happen to me, God, or whatever. It was part of my trial. It was part of my trip. It was part of my journey where I had to go through all kinds of crap to find out how these bastards work, you know. And it all linked, strangely enough, to witches with crystal balls. You know, the kind of balls that have bubbles in. Because at the time, I've done a speech on there's a speech on my channel, an earlier speech from a while back, where I talk about a paperweight I used to own that had bubbles in it. And Satan was using that paperweight to encapsulate me. And the girl who bought it me, my ex-girlfriend who bought it me as a present, she basically trapped me in it before, you know, I don't know whether she was in on it, whether she was being paid or hypnotised to attack me as well. This is why my paranoia got so bad. And it all led to this ball, you know, this glass ball made of crystal that, you know, they seem to like surround me in it, like. I mean, magic is it's a peculiar realm, magic, guys. It's like, it's designed so it's like not the ordinary, obviously. It's like you're not meant to really work these things out. No one is meant to work these things out. But anyway, as time passed by, after like to say that, I don't know how many times it actually happened to me, like, but after like to say the 5th or 6th time that I had a boil on my ass thinking, I can't believe these guys are still playing this trick, like when you know I can just destroy them eventually, you know what I mean? It reminded me when I was younger, and I was with an ex-girlfriend when I was younger, right? And her dad, who was okay, you know, he was just a sound guy, he used to work his ass off trying to make his wife, who was, you know, my girlfriend's mother, at the time, happy. You know, he was working all around the clock, 24, you know, well not 24/7, but you know, every hour he had, he'd be working to make her house nice, and she was like sort of always moaning that it wasn't good enough, if you know what I mean. It eventually put me off this woman, eventually, because I thought, if she's going to end up like her mum, I don't want to stay with her. But she was quite a possessive woman, her mother, sort of narcissist, very fussy about, you know, furniture, cleaning up and that, like very witch, sort of covetous witch kind of character, like, if you know what I mean, where they pretend to be nice, but they're horrible under the surface, really. They're dragons, right? But me going through all this crap with the boils on my ass and all that stuff, I know I hate it, I know it sounds a bit brash here, guys, but the only way to say it, like, people need to realise that we do have to break down a taboo, and because we've got to give them it back, you know what I'm saying? We've still got to get them back yet. But this ex-girlfriend told me that there was an incident where they were all sitting around the breakfast table having the breakfast, right? Her dad was there, her mum was there, and she had 3 sisters, and they were all witches, basically. I won't go into that now, like, you know what I mean, but They were all witches, you know. When I say witches, I don't mean sitting around with pointy hats and things. I mean like secretly, you know, they put spells on people and shit like that, spitting your coffee and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Dirty shit like that, like. But long story anyway. But anyway, apparently she told, this is my ex-girlfriend told me this herself. She said, "Oh, it was funny today. We were all sitting around the table having our breakfast or tea or whatever, like as they did. And my dad said." Not my dad, her dad, who's henpecked, if you know what I mean. You know when I say henpecked, I mean like, like Jezebel and Ahab, you know, completely controlled to the point he's doing everything he can to keep this woman happy, you know, like, sort of, you know, all the latest furniture, the fitted kitchen and all the rest of it, like, you know, the score, like. And her old man apparently was sitting at the table, and they're all eating the tea or the breakfast or whatever, like. And imagine a guy sitting at a table and his 4 daughters are there and his wife. Do you know what I mean? Like one man and all these women sitting at the table, like. And his wife is quite a possessive woman, like, yeah. And he says, "Oh, these piles aren't half playing up, you know." You know, just casually talking about his piles on his arse, and at the time he must have been 50 something years old, going back thinking about this. This is like around 1984, right? Well, you think about it, he's henpecked, man. His wife is possessed by a dragon of some kind, if you want my opinion, right? They're all possessed, because I know my ex-girlfriend was possessed. She was a narcissist. She was completely possessed. So I know all the other sisters would have been possessed, and her mum would have obviously been possessed, right? The witches. But apparently he just goes, "Oh, these piles are playing up, you know." Talking about as he's got a boil on his arse or piles or something, yeah. And the way my ex-girlfriend put it, she said, and we all started laughing. Do you know, all the women sitting around the table all burst out laughing, looking at it, you know, trying to keep a straight face. They all burst out laughing. And he flipped out, he was deadly serious, going, "What's so funny about that? I'm talking about my problems here and you're all having a laugh at me, are you?" Right, which begs the question, like, why would they laugh? Why would his wife laugh? Because she probably did it to him. He probably done something like, looked at a woman in a film naked on the telly, or when he was in work, wolf whistle, when you go, woo woo, when you see a fit chick go past. You know what, like guys when they work and that, like, and they're away from the wives, that's what they do. They're not having sex or nothing, are they? They're not doing having a fling or being unfaithful, but witches keep an eye on you. Witches, I've been proving this all along, guys. This is what my sort of detective work has led to, is how witches can actually keep an eye on you using the evil eye or the all-seeing eye. And imagine a possessive wife and the husband goes like, you know, while he's with his mates at work, he goes, "Whoa, she's fucking fit, isn't she? Whoa, she's a nice chick, isn't she? Go ahead, love her." She'd be like, "Wait till he gets home." You know, the wife who's watching him all along with a witchcraft light, she'd be like, "Wait till he gets home, I'll soon teach him a lesson." So, do you get me right? I didn't realise this back then at the time. When my ex-girlfriend told me and said, we were all trying not to laugh at the table, and he flipped out, he went mad, and I was thinking, I feel sorry for the guy, you know what I mean? It's like, I understand, you wouldn't want people laughing at you, would you, in a circumstance like that, right? But years later, I get all that being done to me, guys, you get me? Like, where I'm thinking, hang on, it's not like I've got, like, you know, I put a vibrator up my backside or anything like, or, you know, I go riding the horses all day or something like, and all of a sudden this bubble appears like, abracadabra, that's gonna hurt in the morning. So the gang's talking thing, right? The point I'm making is there's like a dragon, guys. We're talking like witchcraft demons, like hobgoblins, evil pixies. They kind of dominate people without showing the faces, if you know what I mean. And what they do is they use people around you, you know, because if anyone around you is weak-willed or weak-minded, or they watch the wrong kind of films, or they read the wrong kind of books and that, they can be completely manipulated. You know, remember there was a story years ago, some guy listened to an Ozzy Osbourne record about suicide and then went out and hung himself. And think about it, man, the kind of power that these things have over people where it can make you do things. I mean, to the point of suicide. Right. But it made me think, hang on. Not at the time. I just thought the guy who I'm talking about, he would just, he just got piles for him, like the wrong food or whatever, some kind of allergy, I don't know, because he wasn't gay or nothing like that, you know what I mean? But after it all happening to me when I was being sort of TI, like, I'm not really realising it, like being kind of, like witchcraft, man, like... I thought, wow, when I look back at it, after it happening to me, and I'm thinking, hang on, I've got like these, like, I'm getting these boils on my arse, right, and I'm not even, like, doing anything wrong here, man, what's going on? And started to suspect the people around me were, like, doubles and clones, or witches in disguise, or shapeshifting and that, like. I thought, he's probably, like, when they all laughed at him round the table, they was probably all in on it together, they probably all knew. Because that's what witches are like, aren't they, guys? They keep it all to themselves. They don't tell you nothing. Like, they actually, they're even secretive to their own husbands. Their own, you know what I mean? They're just not trust. You just cannot trust them. Do you understand? That's why I'm not being like burn them at the stake and all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, I understand. In the old days when loads of innocent women were burnt at the stake and all that, we're not talking about them. I'm talking about women who would actually do things to men using witchcraft. Right, so this is where it ties in with the TI thing, right? There's a lot of witchcraft going on, right, guys? And I think it's kind of like, you've got to be really sort of tough, haven't you, to not let things get you down and get to you. Like, well, when it's got to the point where I've been, where I've had knives held at my throat and stuff like that, I think someone's got to pay for this somewhere along the lines. I didn't even want to attack the lad himself. I just thought, look, I don't care about him, because I know he's okay. I just want to know who's behind it. Just tell me who's behind it. Let me find out. Let me prove it. Let me dig and dig and dig until I find out who was behind all that. And then I'll do the rest. Do you know what I mean? I'll pull whoever it was in hospital, or I'll do the same back to them, Have someone knocking on their door with a kitchen knife or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's all down to witchcraft, isn't it? So, I think I'll sort of wrap it up on this subject, like, and I think I've got one more part to add to this video, which is in conclusion, right? It's like, really, all I'm trying to do in these parts is try and prove to you, right, that I am a victim myself, that I haven't had it easy. I've had some horrible things done to me. It's still loads of things I haven't mentioned, because it'd just be too complicated and too time consuming, right? But, I'm still laughing, I'm still happy, I'm still enjoying my life, I'm still not complaining. They haven't pushed me into the asylum, they haven't driven me into jail, they haven't caused me to buy that shotgun just yet and go on a mad rampage round town, shooting everyone I think is a witch. Do you know, because that's what... Remember, what's his name there, Raoul fella, the guy, the taxi driver down south somewhere, and he went off on one with a gun, just going round in a car, just shooting everyone, like, off his head. And Raoul Motor or something his name was, if I remember correctly. And he basically said to the police on his phone, or to someone on his phone, I'm going to go out. He actually confessed, he actually told them, he said, I'm going to go out, I'm going to fucking kill all of them, I'm going to shoot all of them, you pushed me to this, you've driven me to this. That was what he was saying to them before he went and done it, like, if you know what I mean. As though he'd had a hard time, as though he'd been pushed into it. So it's not a joke, really, do you get me? Like, it can be serious, people can go off on one and do serious things and that, like. So we have to put up our defence mechanisms somehow and realise that there's demons involved, right, guys? There's some kind of witchcraft involved. They're usually all devil believers, they're all usually occultists, you know what I mean? They're all fucking dimwits who think Lucifer's their god, or Beelzebub, the little fly, the little punch his little fucking head in one day. they're all witches. Like, I mean, I could go on here, right, for hours and hours talking about things that I've witnessed, that I've seen for myself, use my own ESP and all the rest of it, and all the things that I've been through myself. But it's just kind of like, it go on for hours and hours. I'm trying to keep it short, and I'm trying to get the message out to all the people on YouTube who are having grief, who are having similar problems. But they aren't, you know, they're not as old as me. I'm 51, remember. You could be like 20 something. There's no way you can have the wisdom of a 50 something. You know what I mean? If you're 20 something, there's no way you can just jump 30 years and have the kind of wisdom that like someone my age has got. So the only thing I can possibly do is try and share that wisdom through YouTube as many times as I'm. Look, check how many videos I've put on YouTube, guys, in an attempt to talk to people and explain these things to them so that they don't lose their cool and go off on one and do something they might regret, you know what I mean, or get them into jail and that. Like, I'm trying to explain that, like, if you're patient and you keep your cool, things just work out. The balance just goes against whoever's behind it all, you know, which is the demon or the devil, the evil one, Beelzebub. There's not one devil, guys. There's, you know, there's Pan, there's Lucifer, there's Beelzebub, there's Satan, there's the serpent itself, you know, the dragon itself. There's all kinds of factors that it's kind of like we're not strong enough to fight these things on our own, like, you know what I mean? But we have to use a sort of unite in spirit sort of thing, and let the Holy Spirit do the rest, like, really. Power of prayer helps, to be honest, like. I don't have any, you know, I hardly ever pray because it frightens me, but the way it's, as soon as I pray, the prayer is answered, it's mind-blowing. I hardly do it. But anyhow, that's the point I'm making, what I'm reaching in the climax of these speeches is to get you to realise that once they start you off on this, right, we go into automatic pilot eventually. The gang stalkers or TR, you know, they pick on us to an extent that they leave us in automatic pilot, they leave it running so that we eventually start attacking ourselves. Do you understand? We could even be the actual entity that's still picking on ourselves. It's, you know, it's a form of schizophrenia, isn't it? Like split personalities and that. But that's what they try and do. They're trying to make us attack ourselves eventually, which we've got to step out of that, right? And say to ourselves, we know something's being done to us. We know, you know, something's not right. And we just got to be patient and rise above it. If you catch someone red-handed doing something to you, guys, you know, like if physically you actually see them doing something to you, then, you know, pick up the nearest pickaxe or whatever and smash their heads in or whatever, like, they deserve it, like, you know. But they usually do everything secretly, you see, that's the thing, like, you know, when you bear in mind that I reckon watching a guy complaining about his piles or whatever, his own wife probably did that to him. You've got to realise how shady it is. You've got like mums who could you know, punish their own sons and daughters in ways, like, you know, the kind of parent. My mum and dad were great, like, but there was a point where there was a switch where they were doubles. There was something there where the swastika set up, as I spoke of on early speeches, right? I'm going to go deeply into that in the next couple of speeches when I get back from the Isle of Man, right? Because I'm going to go away for the week next week, right? And I've got a speech to do about the swastika set up, you know what I mean? Deep stuff, really deep stuff, no one else has talked about, that I'm going to, like, try and spill the beans on the whole gaff, like, so people get it into their minds that we're talking about supernatural, you know, like, as the scripture says, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, we're wrestling against principalities, entities, demons, ghouls, spectres, ghosts. Not the kind that they can't actually harm us, but they can make us harm ourselves. That's what self-harmers are doing, guys. You know, when you have those young kids, you know, the emos and the goths and that, and you know, they're cutting themselves and all that kind of stuff. It's not their own doing. It's a demon that's in them. that's making them do it usually enters them through the mirror. Haven't you noticed this, right, guys? What have a lot of them people got in common? Like the goths and people like that. You know, the ones that seem to be dead depressed and miserable. And they have, you know, they dye their hair black and they have nose rings and earrings and everything and all that. What have you noticed about most of them? You know, even the males, I mean the females especially, but the males, they all wear makeup. Do you understand, guys? Which means they'll all use a mirror a lot of the time. You know, if they wear you can't put eyeliner on without using a mirror, right? Am I not right, guys? You know, any women out there or any flipping... I don't want to go, you know, anti-transgender kind of shit, like, I'm just trying to be realistic about these things, right? But if anyone's like a goth or an emo head or whatever, and they've usually got an ego trip going on and they put like black lipstick on or shit like that, right? If they've got eyeliner, they've got to have a mirror, haven't they? They can't do it without a mirror, right? And what will they obviously be doing? They'll be like right up to the mirror, won't they, like that? So the spirit is using the ink, you know, it's not ink, is it, eyeliner, it's a kind of a dye of some kind, yeah. And it's like, it's going right into their eyes, man, both of their eyes, like, because they're exposing themselves to the mirror, the entities in the mirror. You know, and I've heard a lot of little things about, like, you know, when kids, they put makeup on when they're kids and they can't help it, like, they just for some strange reason, they go into the mum's room and they start, like, helping themselves to the lipstick. You know, I'm talking about boys here, guys, not talking about the girls. I'm talking about, this is a common theme, this is a common thread. Where the lads, the guy, you know, say about 10 years old or something, they go into the mum's room and they open the drawer and they get the makeup out and then they're putting eyeliner on and all that shit. Think about it. It's going into people through mirrors and stuff, like, you know, what I call the principalities. So you've got to be really careful, like, what you do, you know. I mean, I don't want people going around smashing mirrors constantly, like, but no, you don't get 7 years bad luck. You know, that's a load of bullshit, isn't it? If someone says to you, you get 7 years bad luck if you smash a piece of glass that reflects. They're trying to put, it's the demons using them to put you off breaking the spell. Because if you smash a mirror, that portal is closed. But that's my advice to any of you guys. Get, you know, buy brand new mirrors if you must, like. So where am I going now? What am I saying? What am I leading to? I feel like ridiculous doing these speeches, but I feel like I have to be honest, like, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of younger people than me that don't know what the fuck they're doing, like. But yeah, the self-harmers and stuff like that, right? What makes them do it? It's not like it's a one-off, is it? It's not like it's like 2 people on the planet that self-harm. It's going around all over the fucking world, for fuck's sake. There's loads of people doing it. And they usually smoke as well. That's another common denominator. They usually, you know, they're making up the rollie, you know, put the tobacco in, like, you know, this demon, whatever it is, this transgender demon that just doesn't like people being happy or whatever, like, seems to have a connection to, you know, cigarettes and fire and matchsticks and sore asses and all the rest of it, right? But anyway, I think I've cleared that one up, haven't I? The point is, don't let it get to the point where you're gang stalking yourself, guys, you know what I mean? Be positive. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to be already in the thick of it, you know, like at the worst point of the gang stalking where it's really intense. If you can possibly do it, just go like that. I'm not being gang stalked, no one's attacking me. If it's brilliant, I'm enjoying my life, it's brilliant. Do this delusion self-importance bit of like, I'm not special, I'm just fucking knobhead, I don't care about myself that much, what's the big deal? You know, it helps when you kind of lose your self-importance as well, simultaneously, like, a lot of psychology required, reverse psyop and that, like, and I don't know, there's always a happy ending, that's the way I see it, like, and they all lived happily ever after. But yeah, I think I've covered everything, and I had a couple of other things. What was the other thing I had to say? Yeah, there's a couple more speeches like on this subject. Yeah, me penultimate thing is that they're so fast, the gang stalkers. You know, like the way they control people to talk to you, or, you know, if you walk past a person in the street, a total stranger, and they go fish, they're so fast, they can't be human. Right? No humans can be that fast, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says, doesn't matter how talented you are or whatever. You either got to be in allegiance with demons or a demon itself to be that quick, to focus in, because we are quite slow as humans, you know what I mean? We don't realise that. We're living in a different time frame to the demons, like. So that's another thing I've got to say, is they are like, you know, I've got loads of points to make about those issues, as though they're on the moon, right? You know, the dark side of the moon. I don't know if any of us have heard about the swastika base on the moon and little things like that they reckon's on the far side. I've got a whole speech to do about that subject matter, regarding half of the moon being black and half of the moon being immersed in light. Do you understand? It can't happen on Earth because we've got the atmosphere. On the moon, it can get, when it's black, it's black. You know what I mean? On the wherever the shadow is. And always remember, with the moon, it's always 50-50, guys. We might see it from Earth, we might see a full moon, right? And then if we could like leave the Earth and look at it from the side when it's a full moon, we'd see a 50-50 divide. Right, it's black completely on one side, and on the other side it's immersed in amazing, just brilliant white light, isn't it, all of a sudden? So that's the extremity, you know, the Freemasons with the black and white checkered squares. It's because they're in allegiance with these creatures, which I think are on the moon, right, guys? You know, they're sort of banished from Earth, do you get me? They can only work through people who do. You know, this is why it's important why people shouldn't get into occultism, voodoo, you know, Aleister Crowley type shit. I don't care who you are, anyone's going to argue with me and say like, oh, he's just being like a religious nutter and believes in God and that, like, I don't care who you are, you know what I mean? Whatever you say, you're going to argue about those subjects. There's comments on the bottom of my videos where you can put your arguments in and have a go, say what you got to say, and I'll stump you in front of everyone on YouTube, do you know what I mean? Because I know what I'm talking about. So, you know, usually the people who are in denial on those things, they're usually practicing occultism themselves, and they just don't want to admit they're fucking idiots, basically. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to go like, I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I'm a fucking dickhead. You know what I mean? Or I've been reading Aleister Crowley's books now for fucking 20 years, like, and it's all a waste of time, and I'm just a fucking stupid bastard. No one wants to do that, do they? No one wants to admit they're fucking idiots, do they, basically? So they carry it on as if to say, like, no, what about this God of yours that you're talking about? Hey, where is he? Why doesn't he show himself? I say, oh, fuck off, man. That's a fucking the oldest trick in the book, innit? You know? So anyway, it does all tie in with occultism. I've got some brilliant things to talk about, right, guys, because I've been quite happy with the response of me, these targeted individual speeches. It looks like my videos, I'm looking at my YouTube screen now, and I'm still trying to upload, and it's going to be like years before these videos upload. So I've got to work on this particular one now, then render it so I can upload this one. But yeah, I'll wrap it up because I need a break, and I've got to be up early in the morning. And I think I've said enough for now. Any comments, questions, anything like that. Even if you want to argue with me, guys, go on, go for it, I dare you. You know, anyone who wants to argue with me, because I know there's views go on my videos, right, and no one says anything. Some people watch them and say something, you know what I mean? You know, if someone watches a video on YouTube but they don't comment or make any reaction, they could be spies, couldn't they? There could be people that are not watching me because they support me or anything like that. They're just like, let's see what Bruce has got to say now, or what's he talking about now, like, or, you know what I mean? They're just like psyoping me, like, or investigating me, like, which is just, you know, the more the merrier, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? I want anyone to investigate me, like, because everything I do is tell the truth, basically. See, even the dogs support me there, like. But, yeah, this is leading to the supernatural elements of the demons that are responsible for this kind of stuff, right, guys? It's kind of like above our heads as humans, like, but me being, I've subjected myself to magic mushrooms, LSD, smoked a lot of weed, done all kind of mad stuff where I thought, like, I just by accident suss things out, you know what I mean? I suss things out by accident, didn't intend to. I'd have been retired by now, living in a shed somewhere, like, just being a tramp. But nah, I feel like you gotta like talk if you know the truth, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'll wrap this one up anyway, and like I say, the other two videos, they cut off suddenly, so I didn't close the ceremony, so to speak, or whatever, you know, the way I usually do. I say thanks for watching and all that, like. So this is like 3 parts basically, but you know, the last 3 parts, I was actually part 10 this, isn't it? Part 10 of the targeted individual speech, like. And I go graphic, I know that, guys, and I'll talk about some horrible grisly subjects, like, but I think it has to be said, because they're taboo, you know what I mean? People shouldn't be afraid to talk about these things, you know what I'm saying? So the end of part 10 anyway, part 10, I mean 10 parts, can't believe it, like. And I've covered a lot of subjects, trying to make people think differently about the matter. And if there's anything else on me, yeah, demons, greys, you know, alien greys, horrible mischievous greys, right? Oh yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention is, while I was working in a factory recently, you know, this is only a few weeks back or a couple of months back, when I was working in a factory, and it started appearing there, you know, all the other members of staff who were working with, they were all showing signs of being controlled. Do you know, they were all, the Freemasons were doing that above their heads, and then they were like that in front of me and around me, saying things that they knew I might have been offended by, and I just ignored it. I was thinking, they haven't even got, forgive them, they haven't got a clue what they're saying, they don't even know they're doing it, you know, because wherever they go they follow me, you know, the people that are harassing me, not the actual members, you know, the people who are in front of me speaking or whatever, they're just like being controlled, they haven't got a clue, you know, anyone's not word to the wise on this kind of stuff, they don't know, do they? But yeah, I was working in the factory, just getting on with my job, just working, and sure enough I was like, it's only a matter of time before they start, like, you know, whoever the old horrible fucking Freemasons are who do the role play up above, like, from the temple, like, you know. And sure enough, it started happening in this factory where I was thinking, no, he's saying something that's upsetting me. He's starting to say things that's upsetting me. Can't they just fucking keep their mouths shut, like? But they don't know. They can't do it, like. They haven't got the resilience, they haven't got a clue. So that's my advice to people, is don't attack people, because that's the last place I've been, guys, where I felt like it was getting a bit intense, and I should have said something, but I didn't want to, because I knew, I was thinking, nah, I'll go straight to the Masonic Lodge who's pulling the strings, and I'll fucking fuck with their heads instead, innit? But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Wrapping up part 10 right now, and chilling out just for the rest of the night, and uploading these videos if I can before getting my head down. Try and get it over with, part 10. And I'll be, like I say, taking a break, going to the Isle of Man next week to watch the motorbikes. You know, just basically have a bit of time out. And my speeches will be getting a little bit more intense on certain supernatural subjects when I get back. And then I'm hopefully going to try and get my music sorted, because I'm going to go out doing sort of busking kind of thing, street entertaining, like a rock show, you know, but with drum machines and stuff. I'm focusing on that, you know, do something to try and get off the social security. Well, thanks for watching anyway, guys. That's me targeted individual speeches for now. If I continue them, it'll be part 11. I don't know. I hope I've covered some mad subjects that you might not be sure about, like. There's all kinds of things I haven't mentioned, like, but other people have already spoke about it, like you feel like your food's being spiked and all that kind of stuff. You just got to be confident, guys. You've got to be, like, block it out of your mind. Because if it's in your mind, if it's in your mind, it's in your psyche, and if it's in your psyche, it's in your vicinity, and if it's in your vicinity, it's in your house or your town or whatever. You've got to clear your head and reclaim your mind, you know, reclaim your own brain. This is what these little demons do, mate. They steal your mind, basically, and then once they get on top, they start bullying you, because they're cowards. So anyway, you've got to start enjoying yourselves, and not letting these things get you down. I mean, I've been through the worst, me guys, and I'm still okay. I'm still having a laugh about it, you know. I've been through some horrors, like. Well, thanks for watching anyway. Thanks for the support to everyone who's made a comment or give me a thumbs up. If you find any tonkies in your flats or anything like that, any condoms, dispose dispose of them in the right way, in the proper fashion. Save those sperms from the eternal suffering they've already been through, like. Alright, I'm off now. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's the end of part 10. If I do a part 11, it'll probably be next week, you know what I mean? I'm going to take a break now for a week. And try listening to my music, guys. Put a pair of headphones on and that, like, because it's all record company free, you know. I don't use any thingies. Oh, that's another speech I've got coming up in the future, guys, is the Illuminati triangle. What they call the Illuminati, everyone's going on about, right? I've worked out how they get, you know, start wars and all the rest of it. So I've got a couple of major speeches coming up. Stay tuned. And hope everyone's happy out there, and thanks for watching.